Russia. When you hear that name, what do you think of? Huge, right? Icy plains that go on forever. I mean, this country has time zones. Think about it. When people in Vladivostok way out east are watching the sunrise, folks in Kaliningrad, thousands of miles west, are still tucked in bed. Imagine taking a train across Russia. It would take you over to get to the other side. Crazy, huh? But how did Russia get so big? How did it become this giant on the map? Well, it's a long story, a story of big plans, clever moves, and never giving up. It's a story of battles and treaties, of different cultures mixing together, and of getting more and more land. From freezing Siberia to the sunny Black Sea, Russia just kept growing bigger and bigger for hundreds of years. So how did it all begin? Let's go back in time, way back, to the very beginning of Russia. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories. Our journey starts in the 9th century AD, with a loose federation of Slavic tribes known as Kievan Rus. Centered around the city of Kiev, now the capital of Ukraine, this nascent power was strategically positioned along vital trade routes connecting the Baltic Sea with the Byzantine Empire. Viking traders, those intrepid seafarers from Scandinavia, played a pivotal role in the development of Kievan Rus, establishing trade links, and even forming the ruling class in the early days. The Vikings brought with them not only their seafaring prowess and trading acumen, but also their fierce warrior spirit, a trait that would become deeply ingrained in the DNA of the future Russian state. The adoption of Orthodox Christianity in 988 AD under Prince Vladimir the Great marked a turning point for Kievan Rus. This momentous decision not only shaped the religious and cultural identity of the region for centuries to come, but also forged strong ties with the powerful Byzantine Empire. However, the golden age of Kievan Rus was not to last. In the 13th century, the Mongol hordes led by the fearsome Genghis Khan swept across the Eurasian steppe, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Kiev, the heart of Kievan Rus, was sacked and burned, and the once mighty federation splintered into numerous smaller principalities, each struggling to survive in the shadow of Mongol domination. From the mists of time, amidst the vast plains and winding rivers of Eastern Europe, emerged the Eastern Slavs. Skilled farmers, fishermen, and hunters, they lived in harmony with the land. In the 9th century, the Vikings arrived, establishing trading posts and alliances. Led by Rurik, they founded the kingdom of Kievan Rus, the precursor to modern Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. The reign of Prince Vladimir the Great, a descendant of Rurik, marked a pivotal moment in the history of Kievan Rus. In 988 AD, Vladimir made the momentous decision to convert to Orthodox Christianity, rejecting the pagan beliefs of his ancestors and embracing the faith of the Byzantine Empire. Legend has it that Vladimir sent envoys to different lands to observe their religions and ultimately chose Orthodox Christianity for its beauty, grandeur, and promise of salvation. He was particularly impressed by the magnificence of the Hagia Sophia, the Grand Cathedral of Constantinople, the Byzantine capital. The conversion of Kievan Rus had far-reaching consequences. It tied the kingdom closer to the Byzantine Empire, both politically and culturally. Byzantine architects, artists, and scholars flocked to Kiev, bringing with them their knowledge, skills, and Orthodox faith. Churches and monasteries adorned with intricate frescoes and mosaics sprung up across the land, transforming the religious landscape of Kievan Rus. The Cyrillic alphabet, developed by Byzantine missionaries Cyril and Methodius, was adopted for the Slavic language, laying the foundation for a rich literary tradition. Vladimir's decision to embrace Orthodox Christianity was not merely a matter of personal faith, it was a shrewd political move. By aligning himself with the Byzantine Empire, a powerful and sophisticated civilization, Vladimir enhanced his own prestige and that of his kingdom. The adoption of a common religion also helped to unite the diverse Slavic tribes under his rule, fostering a sense of shared identity and purpose. The influence of Byzantine law, art, architecture, and literature left an indelible mark on Kievan Rus, shaping its culture and identity for centuries to come. The death of Vladimir the Great in 1015 AD led to instability for Kievan Rus. His son's power struggles fragmented the kingdom into independent principalities. In the 13th century, the Mongols, led by Genghis Khan, invaded. Batu Khan's army reached Kievan Rus in 1240 AD. The invasion was swift and brutal, cities fell, and Kiev was sacked. The Mongol yoke imposed harsh rule and taxes for over 2 centuries. During this time, the Grand Duchy of Moscow began to rise. As the heart of Kievan Rus lay in ruins, a new power began to emerge from the ashes. In the northeastern forests lay the small Principality of Moscow. Founded in the 12th century, Moscow was initially insignificant. However, its strategic location at key trade routes proved crucial. These waterways connected Moscow to major seas, making it a trade hub. During Mongol rule, Moscow's rulers adopted a pragmatic approach. They cooperated with the Mongols, acting as tax collectors. This strategy allowed them to consolidate power and expand influence. They amassed wealth and resources, fueling future ambitions. Moscow also benefited from the support of the Russian Orthodox Church. In the early 14th century, Metropolitan Peter moved his seat to Moscow. This made Moscow a spiritual center, attracting pilgrims and scholars. The Muscovite princes supported the church, building monasteries and churches. This alliance between church and state became a cornerstone of Muscovite power. The reign of Ivan I, nicknamed Kalita, Moneybag, marked a turning point in Moscow's rise to power. A shrewd and ruthless ruler, Ivan I skillfully exploited his position as a tax collector for the Mongols, amassing a vast fortune and using it to expand his territory and influence. He purchased lands from impoverished princes, subdued his rivals through a combination of diplomacy and military force, and ruthlessly suppressed any dissent within his own domain. Ivan I's reign saw Moscow emerge as the dominant power among the Russian principalities, a position it would never relinquish. Ivan I's successors continued his policies of expansion and consolidation. They gradually extended Moscow's control over neighboring principalities, often using a combination of military force, political maneuvering, and dynastic marriages to achieve their goals. They also continued to strengthen their alliance with the Russian Orthodox Church, recognizing its importance as a unifying force in a land divided by centuries of Mongol rule. The church, in turn, benefited from the patronage of the Muscovite princes, gaining lands, privileges, and a powerful voice in political affairs. Under Ivan III, known as Ivan the Great, Moscow finally cast off the shackles of Mongol rule. In 1480, Ivan III refused to pay further tribute to the Golden Horde, leading to a standoff between the two armies at the Ugra River. The Great Stand on the Ugra, as it came to be known, marked the end of Mongol domination over Russia. Although no battle took place, the Mongol Khan, faced with a strong and determined Muscovite army, chose to withdraw, effectively recognizing Moscow's independence. While Moscow consolidated its power in the west, a new frontier beckoned in the East Siberia. A vast and mysterious land stretching from the Ural Mountains to the Pacific Ocean, Siberia held immense allure for the Muscovite czars. It was a land of dense forests teeming with fur-bearing animals, its rivers teeming with fish, and its soil hiding untold mineral wealth. For the czars of Moscow, eager to expand their realm and fill their coffers, Siberia represented a treasure trove waiting to be unlocked. The gateway to Siberia lay across the Ural Mountains, a natural barrier that had long separated European Russia from the vast expanse of the east. Beyond the Urals lay the Khanate of Sibir, a loose confederation of Tatar tribes ruled by a Khan from his capital at Kashlik, near present-day Tobolsk. The Khanate, though powerful in its own right, was weakened by internal strife and vulnerable to outside pressure. The Muscovite czars, sensing an opportunity, began to cast their eyes eastward, eager to extend their dominion over this land of promise. Among those who answered the call of adventure and opportunity was a band of Cossacks, fierce warriors known for their horsemanship, marksmanship, and independent spirit. The Cossacks, often living on the fringes of Russian society, were drawn to Siberia by the promise of land, riches, and freedom from the constraints of central authority. They formed independent bands, led by elected atamans, and ventured into the unknown, exploring rivers, establishing trading posts, and engaging in skirmishes with the native tribes. In the mid-16th century, a Cossack ataman named Yermak Timofeyevich would etch his name into the annals of Russian history by leading a daring expedition into the heart of Siberia, an expedition that would change the course of Russian history and lay the foundation for Russia's vast Eastern Empire. Yermak Timofeyevich was a man born for adventure. Legend has it that he was a giant of a man, with a booming voice and a commanding presence. A skilled warrior and a charismatic leader, Yermak had risen through the ranks of the Cossacks to become the ataman of a powerful band. In 1579 he received a fateful invitation from the Stroganov family, wealthy merchants who had established a trading empire in the Ural region. The Stroganovs, eager to expand their operations further east but facing resistance from the Khanate of Siberia, sought the Cossacks' help in subduing the troublesome Tatars. Yermak, sensing an opportunity for both profit and glory, accepted the Stroganovs' offer. He assembled a force of around 840 men, armed with muskets, cannons and sabers, and set out from the Stroganov stronghold of Cherdyn in the spring of 1581. Their journey would take them across the Urals, down the treacherous Chusovaya and Tagil rivers, and into the heart of the Khanate of Siberia. Their journey was fraught with peril. The Cossacks faced not only the hostility of the native tribes but also the challenges of the harsh Siberian environment. They braved icy rivers, dense forests, and treacherous swamps, their progress often hampered by freezing temperatures, dwindling supplies, and ambushes by the Khan's forces. Yet, Yermak's leadership and the Cossacks' fighting prowess proved too much for their opponents. In the fall of 1582, after over a year of arduous travel and fierce fighting, Yermak's forces reached Kashlik, the capital of the Khanate of Siberia. The Battle of Kashlik was a clash of civilizations, pitting the Cossacks' muskets and cannons against the Tatar cavalry's arrows and lances. Despite being outnumbered, Yermak's forces, aided by their superior firepower and tactical cunning, emerged victorious. The Khan, Kuchum Khan, fled the city, leaving his treasures and his capital in the hands of the Cossacks. The capture of Kashlik was a turning point in the conquest of Siberia. Yermak's victory sent shockwaves through the region. The Khanate of Siberia crumbled under the Cossacks' onslaught. Yermak sent word to Tsar Ivan IV requesting reinforcements. Ivan the Terrible recognized Yermak's conquests and sent reinforcements. He dispatched supplies and craftsmen to secure the territory. Russian settlers, traders, and adventurers followed, drawn by Siberia's riches. The conquest of Siberia was a prolonged process of exploration and settlement. Russian explorers and soldiers ventured deeper, establishing trading posts and forts. They encountered indigenous tribes, forging alliances and negotiating treaties. The harsh Siberian environment posed formidable challenges. Winters were long and brutal, with life-threatening temperatures. Rivers froze over, halting travel for months. Disease, starvation, and attacks took a heavy toll. Yet, driven by ambition and adventure, the Russians pressed on. While Russia's eastern expansion unfolded across Siberia, its western frontier remained a point of ambition. Peter the Great sought access to the Baltic Sea, blocked by Sweden. Determined to modernize Russia, Peter clashed with Sweden in the Great Northern War. The decisive Battle of Poltava in 1709 marked a turning point. The Treaty of Nystad in 1721 ended the war, securing Russia's access to the Baltic. Peter founded St. Petersburg, symbolizing Russia's new Western orientation. Section 2. The Black Sea Beckons, Securing Southern Frontiers. Peter the Great focused on Russia's western borders, but the southern frontier with the Ottoman Empire remained tense. The Black Sea, dominated by the Ottoman fleet, hindered Russia's trade and naval ambitions. Catherine the Great aimed to secure Russia's southern borders and expand influence in the Black Sea. In 1768, Catherine launched the Russo-Turkish War, testing Russia's military might. Russian warships won a decisive victory at the Battle of Chesma in 1770. The Treaty of Kukuk-Kainarka in 1774 granted Russia access to the Black Sea and key ports. Section 3. Into the Heart of Asia, Conquests and Protectorates. As Russia consolidated its position on its western and southern borders, its gaze turned towards the vast expanse of Central Asia. The region, a crossroads of ancient trade routes and home to a patchwork of khanates and emirates, held strategic and economic importance. Control over Central Asia would not only secure Russia's southern flank, but also provide access to new markets, resources and influence in the heart of the Asian continent. Russia's advance into Central Asia was a gradual process, driven by a combination of military expeditions, diplomatic maneuvers, and economic incentives. Russian explorers, traders, and diplomats ventured into the region, mapping its terrain, establishing contacts with local rulers, and seeking opportunities for trade and influence. They encountered a complex web of rivalries and alliances, with khanates vying for power and seeking support from external powers like Russia and Great Britain. In the early 19th century, Russia began to assert its military might in Central Asia. Russian forces, often facing fierce resistance from local warriors armed with swords, bows and muskets, gradually subdued the khanates of Kokand, Bukhara, and Khiva, incorporating them into the Russian Empire as protectorates. Russian forts and garrisons were established in strategic locations, securing trade routes, imposing order, and consolidating Russian control. The conquest of Central Asia was not without its challenges. The region's harsh climate, with its scorching summers and freezing winters, posed logistical difficulties for Russian forces. Resistance from local populations, often fueled by religious fervor and resentment towards foreign rule, continued for decades, leading to bloody uprisings and reprisals. Nonetheless, Russia's hold on Central Asia grew stronger, its influence extending from the Caspian Sea to the Pamir Mountains, marking a new chapter in Russia's imperial expansion. Section 4. The Caucasus Crucible. A legacy of resistance. Russia's expansion into the Caucasus met fierce resistance from diverse ethnic groups, each with its own culture and traditions. The Caucasus, a crossroads of empires, had long been a region of conflict and resistance. The Ottoman Empire and Persia vied for control, while local tribes fiercely defended their independence. Russia's southward expansion in the 18th century ignited a century-long struggle. The Caucasus Wars were brutal conflicts between the Russian Empire and Caucasian tribes. Renowned for their horsemanship and guerrilla tactics, Caucasian warriors fought tenaciously. Despite superior firepower, Russia faced a costly and protracted conflict. The wars led to widespread destruction, displacement, and loss of life. Villages were razed, and entire communities were forced to flee. The legacy of resistance in the Caucasus endures. Section 1. Exploiting weaknesses, asserting strength. Russia's expansion was strategic, exploiting the weaknesses of neighbors like the fragmented Mongol Empire and declining Ottoman Empire. Under rulers like Catherine the Great, Russia advanced its interests through military campaigns and alliances. Military modernization under Peter the Great played a crucial role. His reforms equipped Russian armies with modern weapons and tactics, securing victories and expanding territories. Russia's strategic acumen and military strength allowed it to project power and overcome obstacles. Section 2. Consolidation and Control, securing the gains. Military conquest was only the first step in Russia's expansionist playbook. Equally important was the consolidation and control of newly acquired territories. Russia employed a multi-pronged strategy, combining military force with infrastructure development. Establishing forts and garrisons was key to securing new territories. These outposts were strategically located along rivers and trade routes. They provided a military presence and secured lines of communication. They also served as centers of administration and tax collection. These forts attracted settlers, traders, and artisans. Russia encouraged trade and investment in new territories. The fur trade was tightly controlled and regulated. Mining operations were expanded, attracting investors. Agricultural development was encouraged in fertile lands. Cultural assimilation played a significant role in consolidation. The Russian language became the lingua franca of the empire. The Russian Orthodox Church expanded its reach, spreading loyalty to the Tsar. Section 1. A Legacy of Expansion. From its humble beginnings as a collection of Slavic tribes under Kievan Rus, Russia embarked on a centuries-long journey of expansion, transforming into the largest nation on Earth. This transformation was fueled by ambition, opportunity, and a combination of military might, political cunning, and economic incentives. The legacy of Russia's expansion continues to resonate today, influencing its geopolitical calculations, its national identity, and its place in the world. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.